John Charles. I'm on Queen Anne. Last night was very brutal. The whole situation yesterday was brutal, but we're getting information today. Definitely Russians that came from Kent came into town. They tried to kidnap me and get me with the Jolins. Jolin's trying to hide me. Jolin's two different groups. There's a black group and a white group. The Jolin from downtown Seattle was linked to Sue Shallon. Lived in the condos, an older white male. Believe he may have a nephew or niece traveling with the money. They're linked to Jill Donnelly and Baby Bernstein. He's a smart, very smart-ass type of older banker type looking guy. Brown hair, kind of thin, not... I wouldn't say banker, I don't know, yuppie, whatever you might want to describe, but this man is dangerous and involved in a huge network. We have Mike Eaton cross-linked with somebody, I'm not sure what the name is, Mylan or Mylan, maybe the one making the shifts, the name changes at FedEx. So it's a huge crime in shipping, actually a shipping computer, and he's actually changing names. How he got this computer, I don't know. It's illegal. So anything that's supposed to come to the family, he'll change the name on it. We also have the flea markets, or the old road show that used to be on TV, very involved in taking a lot of the furniture and antiquities and trying to sell it off like it was family merchandise, family property. And they'll go on the show. They were going on the show and actually selling the stuff from the Charles Trust. Bigger crime, not bigger because they're very dangerous people, because they will actually rob people's homes to take antiquities and sell them if they feel that they're worthwhile at these flea markets. There was one at Del Mar Racetrack for a long time across the street. I know when I was there, they were involved in organized crime in trying to rob people at the track. But this is the bigger crime is he was selling this Mylan or whoever it is has been sending to Tukwila, where a lot of the documents for Barons and Westfields were shifted, the old music documents. He's done this for a long time. I believe he's involved with the Meisners. Eaton took a lot of gold, moved gold, and he's a very big criminal that has been linked to several different crimes, but he continues to receive, and it's very hard to understand. But we believe he may have one of the shipping computers, or somebody in his network has one as well. They're sending to Foss. This is very important for the city of Boston to know. I believe it was Ballins that were supposed to help me. They took off for Chicago today. They took my information. It could be the old Chicago information. That family was not supposed to handle anything of mine. I may have that name wrong, but it's similar. And they are using similar names and trying to confuse over the communication wires. Again, very important for the city of Boston to know. I have people there, Ranahan, and Ranahans were robbing me here with groups down by Hurragarten, by Lake Union. Ranahan's not in the family. The Ranahans from Seattle, Mary Ranahan and Keith Ranahan, criminals. And Mitzi is a distant cousin of the family. Mitzi isn't supposed to handle my finance. She's lying. Famos was not in my family. She was not a cousin of Fred Charles. We believe that was a different type of story, and not somebody that's supposed to be controlling. A lot like the Barshs, not supposed to be running one bit of money anywhere in the world. I have a huge international connection to the phone somehow. I'm trying to go off global to see if my phone operates better, but this connection was set up, obviously. I wrote about that in previous articles about, it appears to be Ericsson Communication or T-Mobile or Sprint that has gone in as Sprint. All people that CEOs owe me money, and these are internal problems in all the corporations trying to reach into the profits and hope that we die and hope there's a cover-up. But T-Mobile is definitely identified as a criminal network to handle douched investment. It was where a lot of the banking was done through Germany for T-Mobile. That money was used from our trust with T-Mobile, the old communication money. Boston. The Walthams have been on the Charles River for a very long time in the city of Boston, with their business. The Walthams are receiving through Foss Electronics, and they've been using Foss Electronics by Franz Bakery and video-only stores. The video stores were robbing the trust for years, along with Tower Records and several other record stores in Seattle, making divisions using parts of the trust, and not allowing me to have my management input to how to handle the money, instead trying to take it over. And this is because they handed this stuff out when my brother and I, Rick, Charles, and I were very young. Waltham, not a true Waltham, originally in Kent, using his name. So when the Walthams came to Seattle and they went down by Nordstrom's, which is a very dangerous place to be right now, the tunnel is blocked, trying to keep people from leaving Seattle, trying to keep people from actually escaping the city. This runs to the airport and the downtown so they would have to use Metro Transit instead of the rail from the internal part of the city, making these tunnels very dangerous in Seattle. We know that we had Polish mafia trying to run Sound Transit, or Eastern Europe, from the main offices. Same problem with Raxon, with Metro. Raxon involved in a crime on Beacon Hill area, and then coming into Seattle through Chinatown and trying to run Metro and distribute money for quite some time now. Linked to a Jolo tavern, I believe. I do not know what's happening on Beacon Hill. It has passed out money for a long time, but the organized crime network up there has branched out from the hospitals on Beacon Hill to downtown Seattle, which connects through Veterans Hospital down the hill to Chinatown, then into Pioneer Square, and then up into the courthouse area and financial districts. This Raxon is very dangerous. I will not get money ever with Raxon running computers, or this Byline, or this network of false Walthams. I believe when Waltham went downstairs, I heard he may have been killed. And they may have been replaced. So the crime in Boston is linked to organized crime out of Seattle right now. This crime was going on a long time ago in Baltimore, when Carol Chin went into Baltimore, into the Camden area, and opened a fusion restaurant, Asian fusion restaurant, living on Chesapeake Bay with my finance, then moving to Florida. Her husband in the scanning industry, going into our scanner accounts and grocery checking accounts. Very illegal. I don't have her new last name, but her niece running different accounts. I can't think of her first name right now, unfortunately. She is half Japanese. Inaba. Her name is Inaba. That is the name of Carol Chin's niece. Elaine Inaba, being very involved with Japanese Inabas of very large Aratanis, Hisiyasus, very large organized crime group that were given banking by the Japanese bankers, linked to Murakami and Fred Nakamura Courthouse, Fred Nakamura not being Fred Charles, trying to misappropriate all this money. Foss in Tukwila by Odin Brewery, very much involved in shipping illegally from the trust and distributing in a cover-up attempt all the gold accounts, silver, jewelry, watches, and initially I have to believe that this Mannion or Bayan, or whatever his name is linked to the crimes of Westfields and Barons all the way to London. This man who has taken the shipping computer somehow has tried to change the ownership with Tukwila Police of the actual mall, which has used our money as investment for building. So this mall actually is supposed to be run by me. The JCPenney Corporation was very involved in this crime, so they have to be looked at really, really closely. Who's running the company, because they are taking over CEOs. You know, I have very huge auto industry problems because of Chuck Olson and his ties. Chuck Olson Chevrolet giving away about 40 years of Corvettes out of our Corvette accounts and Chevrolet profits in a war with several other Chevrolet dealers after this was distributed. The import cars, the high exotics, very bad, but we had collections of cars, and they have also gone in to distribute them. Immediately right here, what you want to address is Waltham in Boston. We need to find out that they're alive and understand why they're trying to run the trust. Walthams are names linked to our family. They are not in the trust. This is why they're under fee to the trust, either through family relationship, business relationship, or property relationship, as we were involved in navigation of these, charting these ports. And this is the business basically that my family was in, charting and organizing these ports and giving us certain property rights and shoreline rights. This is very serious. If you read my other page, John Charles, I'm on John R. Charles right now. I believe there are two. One goes back to Australia. And you can see the damage my body's taken if you see John R. Charles when I'm in Brisbane standing next to one of the statues at the Brisbane Art Museum, who also tried to move money out of Brisbane. My money is international. Each country has money from the trust fund in international accounts, not necessarily being American. So Sweden doesn't need American money. They already are going through pilfering the Swedish accounts. When America pilfers Sweden, and then Sweden comes and pilfers America. You have to understand, these are American accounts. Ben Bridge is now going into accounts, we understand. The Bridge account is linked to Australia in a sense of the bridges came from Australia. This is linked to our family and our networks our family networks from the inception of the nation Australia through the forming of the first colonies in New South Wales. And this is a real link to our the seamanship of the family during the exploration times. And I'm very proud of this. But what you need to understand is bridges formed all of the merchant marine and longshoremen and port, employee insurance, retirement, and medical plans. And this was a role model for these programs in corporations all over the country. Lloyd Brenton Bridges, part of my family. I'm very proud of him. This is a separate account than the Bridge accounts. It is not Jeff Bridges' account. This is linked to the money that comes from the Royal German Trust, German-British Trust that runs through Brunswick, Lüneburg, and Habsburg Estes being a defining point of my family's direct bloodline, being very unique and very prestigious, as well as having ruled over Kallenberg, and which was the beginning of Hanover, which has ruled Germany, England, and now Monaco. This is my family's money. It is not Prince Albert's money of Monaco. Carolyn and Stephanie have more ties to me, Ernest Augustus as well, and Prince Rainier, a dear friend of my family, and through correspondence and through private meetings, these funds are specifically related to me and me getting my health back and starting to take control and give proper management and removing these anarchists from our finance. We have murders in Seattle last night. A man named Mike, who's been running computers. I'll try to put his last name up. It was in a room in one of the banks with a group of older men. They were being held there or We're getting different reports that they were in a room, there was defecation on the floor, and they pulled one out, and he had markers illegally, and he's been creating a lot of problems in the accounts, but that was unknown at the time. They have killed him, they have cut him open and taken the markers. They are linked to Russian-Ukraine organized crime, and this is a brutal crime that is going on when people ingest these financial markers. These people are coming from all over the world to try to take over these markers, and what they are is receiver spikes. They are not legal. They do not in a person that does not relate to the family. They're not a manager's spike. They're families, and they shouldn't be ingested. If they are, you put your life in great risk of being murdered and doubled, and possibly somebody will be carrying it in their purse instead of what you've done or what people have done to these children to use them to move the markers. They will have children ingest them, or if you can call them sticks or spikes, whatever you want to call them. They will ingest them and move the child, and then remove the spike with no regard to the child, with their family either being adopted children or in social services, or unfortunately their parents murdered and the children kidnapped at an early age, thinking they are just traveling to go meet with somebody further down the road in the family to take care of them. So this is a very, very brutal crime that's going on right now. It must be stopped. We must find out if the real Walthams are alive. They're not supposed to be receiving the Waltham finance, and if this is what happened with our relationship with the Walthams in Boston, these are doubles that are taking the Waltham finance and could be ruining the actual savings of that company on the Charles River in Boston that's been there since Boston's begun. And this means that all savings that I could have reinvested or worked with them on trying to possibly, do a restaurant or do a condominiums, all this money has been stolen through Foss, through the fake Walthams in Tukwila Police. Bianchi, once linked with the Sonics, Al Bianchi's children linked with the city of Tukwila, very much a criminal, and the Gopals. Property title Gopal is right next to the city offices, very involved in this crime, and their children involved in this crime and trying to transfer titles all over the country. Chicago title, very involved in this crime as well. Several title offices, of course, but my lack of getting aid from Brant, Bone, or Cone, or Phone, in as well as Abadasi in Los Angeles, miffing me the lack of responsible behavior by real estate lawyers in Los Angeles right now. The biggest and very aware of what the name is on this. My number is 206 right now, 550-9319. Please refer to John Charles, Jon Charles, on Facebook to get the other information. I will try to transfer it over. It is very difficult. The Rentschler account may have been breached. This is illegal. Mr. Trump traveling through Germany. The Trump's trying to take over multiple accounts yesterday, possibly using his name to funnel out. This is a very big crime. You cannot change names on accounts. This is a trust fund. It's a blood trust. The only person who would be changing name would be on a cut illegal computer. These illegal computers or stolen bank computers. These trust fund works, it's embodied in several divisions. It shouldn't be separated or handled by mutant Americans or mutant Germans or mutant whatever they are. These people are not real. There is nobody in the world who is a normal human being who will leave a person on the street and try to murder them in mass numbers. At least one or two may have proper sense. Seattle is absolute organized crime. Murders in the banking offices, murders in the city official offices, the property land management, giving condos to Chinese, property information to Chinese immigrants that have nothing to do with the old money invested here. At least 3 condos going to Chinese in the Queen Anne area. all with units selling for over $700,000 a piece, making these maybe not the nicest looking buildings, but all having value of well over $10 million a piece. And that's three. To me, that's $30 to $40 million, plus mystery of property taxes being paid, meaning they're linked to my banking already. So when these are released, it is very, very damaging to the trust, as the Chinese will continue until stopped. This is the philosophy of the Chinese. We will continue to take money until we are stopped. And they're very good at stopping when you tell them to stop. It's much different than the lack of organization and the other type of criminal activities that we have going on. A lot of the name switching and title switching. The Chinese are linked to organized crime in China. It must be stopped and governed. It must be done in a responsible manner, and you must prosecute or stop. They will stop. If you let this crime continue, they will not stop, and they will be very hard to remove from any property or any banking. We do not have the government that can handle this type of situation in Seattle. The communication problem, very bad. There's over 1,000 stations across America that are trying to keep their money and take the savings back. One name very big right now involved with Russian-Ukraine organized crime, David Kraft, trying to take over the Kraft profits. Keisha Hines, who took over the Hines profits, their links to organized crime have to be identified now. The Ronson family, very involved in taking the fuel profits back from Ronson. Shell's irresponsibility in the CEO, Exxon, Shell, Texaco, Mobil, Standard, the oil companies in Canada. These people, the CEOs, trying to keep profits. We see what happened in Shell when the gas profits dropped and the value of Shell dropped. My ownership of Shell allows me to subsidize losses. When somebody else named Jackson or whoever is running these oil companies, or these CEOs trying to drain money into their own accounts, they are not in my proper thought alignment right now. They're not the CEOs I want working for these companies. I do not want to see that type of loss because of the drop of oil when they're actually moving the oil information illegally through UAE, trying to transfer a lot of the Saudi information to United Emirates. You have to understand this is a huge shift in Middle Eastern economy that we are allowing, which isn't what we want, as they have tried to murder the Americans in the Charles family to accomplish the goals, including the original Russells, who were running a lot of the international finance out of Seattle illegally. It's a very big crime, and it needs to be stopped, and we need to stop the murders in downtown Seattle of the bankers immediately. Immediately. These are ruthless murderers. Is absolute anarchy when it comes to these buildings, and the Seattle Police Force very involved in organized crime, shifting through to pick up finance in the areas that they live in to try to go cash with illegal force. It's organized crime. Vegas wins the Gold Nugget, Hard Rock Cafe. I'm still not getting assistance. Those using computers down there or being put in a position to manage accounts. Actually, whatever happens down there is not allowing me to represent myself with Las Vegas Holdings or my banking in Las Vegas to track the illegal sales of the port and the grain. So if you're in Vegas and you're receiving my message, of course, you know, I love gaming, horse racing. For me to manage these and give you assistance responsibly, I have to be able to track the criminal paths to make sure that the money moving through Vegas can happen in a stable, legal manner. And of course, these are rough times in the United States of America, but as we rebuild, to have this banking in proper line with the casinos that have been using it to try to keep their businesses working, the proper legal documentation is going to give the Charles Trust power across the United States of America. Las Vegas as an example of professional banking and banking management. Very important working with the CEOs that they understand if you are using my finance. This is the type of person that I want working with me, not the type of people working for Heinz or Kraft right at this moment, or several of the auto parts companies like O'Reilly's, whose son children have to be thrown in jail to stop them. What they've done is absolutely ruined the Napa savings, auto parts savings for American Auto, and Greg's Japanese auto parts, of course, involved in organized crime in the Asian auto part market. And now we have Goodwin and Meteor and several other, I believe Flurries was supposed to come and take care of me last week. Flurries have not shown up, or the Geiermans, to keep these accounts responsible and actually have an opportunity to meet with me and act like mature adults and understand the damages being done, not only in the specific accounts that they're handling, but the overall picture of the divisions of the Charles Trust that I am supposed to be actually giving you counseling if you are account managers, which is impossible if you don't give me money. Understanding, not releasing everything to hide it. What you do is manage it. And Steve LeMay in Tacoma is one, very involved in the old classic autos. His life's in danger with the Classic Auto Museum. He is supposed to be managing an account for me, which means he is not showing profit, and he is using the profits to run the museum, which I need to have a salary in management as well. Otherwise, it can't work, Steve. It just can't work. Everything is being destroyed. What a beautiful thing, what a beautiful idea to put together the museum by the Tacoma Dome. I agree. Now to manage it properly will be the next step, and that is with me. And that is trying to get these accounts back in order. So I'm John Charles in Seattle. Walthams, Boston, please make sure the family is the real family. And the Walthams should be working with me as sovereign migrants of the or participant family members of the participation of the Puritan migration into the United States of America to create a better place, which is being ruined by malicious bankers and malicious CEOs, collegiates with ego problems, and this generation is very depressing. And I'm going through extreme pain every day and in danger every minute. Please, I'm John Charles in Seattle. I need financial assistance right now to get me moving and getting my life out of this situation where I can't be murdered or attempts on my life. And portable communication towers be put in underneath my bed to try to change the signal and make me look like other people. This is serious crime. I am in danger. I am in Seattle, Washington. Please, I need assistance. I'm John Charles now. I do not know if my father's alive. He is at Wesley Gardens in Des Moines. The phone is not going through. I have a fake brother, Don and Danielle Gibson, involved with boyfriends that are criminals and trying to move the money. The will of Fred Charles was the smaller one. In the sense of not being linked to the greater financial. This has been stolen by the fake Rick Charles, Don Gibson. Again, more money stolen by the Gibson family. I cannot handle it. They need to return the money now. They are not in the trust. I do not believe they married Rick. I believe it was a double. And as sure as I was at the wedding, and he was taller than my brother, it was 5'11", he was 6 foot to 6'1". It was not my brother that she married. She's involved with shipping these doubles to different countries with the finance, and whoever has been moving money to Don Gibson instead of me and my payments has to be put in prison. This has to be identified. I'm John Charles. Now arrest Jolins, definitely the white Jolins traveling around the world, maybe in Israel, the Shallons involved in this organized crime. Once this group is put together, they're white yuppie types, part of the Downtown Condo Association, stealing leasing profits, condo profits. Dick Balch, Melissa Balch, very involved in that group. I'm John Charles in Seattle. Thank you.